Over the years, Akwa Ibom State, through successive governments, has invested in aviation with a tripod investment in Ibom Air, a world-class African regional airline. The maintenance, repair and overhaul facility, which is the first of its kind in West Africa, and the smart Victor Attah International Airport terminal, which is set to be an aviation game changer in Nigeria.
The new terminal, it brings a huge game-changing reality to the industry in Nigeria. First of all, it is the first purpose-built hub terminal. It's specifically designed to move passengers from flight to flight. So you can arrive on a domestic flight and connect to an international flight, arrive from an international flight and connect to a domestic flight, arrive on an international flight and connect to an international flight, right in the same terminal, under the same airport experience, which is world-class. And it all adds to the joy of traveling that we had kind of lost in Nigeria because of the very, very poor airport experience that our Nigerian passengers and visitors to Nigeria have experienced through the other international airports over time. With this terminal, you want to go to Johannesburg, you book a flight like a domestic flight out of Abuja. You fly into Uyo to connect to Johannesburg. The wow airport experience you will get will make you never want to go and fly out of any inconvenient airport anymore. So the effect of a beautiful transit point in Uyo, a very, very nice and globally competitive flight to wherever you're going. We're going to have a very controlled environment. That's what we want to present to airport users. We're going to collaborate with all the security services and any other person who has anything to do with processing of passengers to make the experience going through Uyo Airport a world-class experience like you find anywhere else you go to. And so by providing this service through this game-changing terminal, we expect to build this hub into a hub in West Africa that really has never been seen before, because despite the fact that Lome is a very small city in Togo, situating an airline there and working on a strategy similar to this, A-Sky has been able to develop Lome into a huge hub. Last year they did about 1.2 million passengers, of which less than 5% were originating or terminating in Lome. They were all transfer passengers, and guess what? The vast majority of those are Nigerians who have to go through out of Nigeria to Lome to go and connect to other places. So that's the problem we're trying to solve. We're trying to yank the airport experience and the flying experience of passengers in Nigeria out of the old Stone Age into the modern age. That's what we want to do with this terminal. Ibom Air's strategy from the very beginning was hinged on being an airline that's resourced like any other competitive airline. You want to go and compete in a very, very brutal environment with airlines that have MROs, that have hub terminals. So that's what you do, and that's the kind of story we're doing right here in Uyo. Our strategy to be able to build the world-class African regional airline, that's our vision, is to be able to provide a world-class service. And to provide a world-class service, everything comes into play. The airport experience of the passengers, the onboard experience of the passengers, the customer service element through the buying of the ticket, through the check-in, through the arrival, through the delivery of bags on the belt. We want to control that, all those inputs to make sure, working with our partners, IADCL, the Ibom Airport Development Company Limited that owns the airport, that will work in tandem to build Uyo into a very competitive hub in Africa. And that's the whole idea of this terminal and this MRO, is to build a strong airline, just like everybody else. They just plan and they focus and they're disciplined, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. Think carefully, plan, develop a business plan, execute it to the limit. And we believe that if we do that in a very disciplined manner, under very strong corporate governance rules, which we have practiced from the beginning, there's no reason why we won't be a successful and competitive international standard African Regional Airline. And that's the whole point of this. The MRO is a major MRO facility like you find anywhere in the advanced world. It's one of only 4 in Africa, which is the MRO of South African Airways in Johannesburg, the MRO of Ethiopian Airlines in Addis Ababa, the facility of Egypt Air in Cairo, and this one in Rio, which now obviously becomes the MRO for Ibom Air. And it's massive. It can take 2 Boeing 747-800s standing side by side with the doors closed and climate control. In the same vein, our aircraft type, the Airbus A220, it can take 8 of them at once. And our other aircraft type, the CRJ900, it can take 10 of them at once. So the facility is really, really large, and it's what very big airlines have. Depending on what aircraft you're maintaining, you could be doing, for instance, if we're just doing line maintenance of our fleet of A220s, you can have 8 of them at once under maintenance. And that's huge capacity, and that goes for all aircrafts in the range of the Airbus A320 and the Boeing 737 series. So you can take all of those. The MRO facility is very, very important for not just for Ibom Air or for Akwa Ibom, but for Nigeria. It's the only facility of its type in the whole of West and Central Africa. But more than that, it presents an opportunity for us to pivot into a different era in the industry in Nigeria because of all the facilities that it has, from wheels and aircraft brakes, and tire, and all the different avionics shops. Many of these things haven't existed in Nigeria at this scale before. So we have the opportunity to provide all of these maintenance, repair, and overhaul services to all the airlines in West and Central Africa. So we intend to create a center of excellence with this facility that will allow us to provide the services that our airlines have to fly across the world to go and get. They either go to Ethiopia or they go to Johannesburg, or worse still, they go to Europe and pay a hell of a lot of euros to be able to maintain their aeroplanes. With this facility, we're now going to be able to provide commercial maintenance for other airlines right here in New York. We are partnering with Airbus Consulting. We have contracted them to partner with us to come and assess the facility, which, by the way, they are very impressed with, to help us develop a business plan for optimal use of this facility. So what we want to do is be able to maintain our fleet, which is the A220 and the CRJ900, and also to advise us on which fleet best we can get the most business out of. And so we can set up, when we have that business plan, it allows us to know what to invest in terms of the capabilities of maintenance of which aircraft, and to target the right airlines to go after, to provide, to offer our services to them. We have to give it to Akwa Ibom. A succession of progressive governors have had and continue to execute this vision. So you have an airport built by the state government, a world-class MRO built by the state government, a world-class terminal, the best terminal in the country, and in my view, because I know about basically all the infrastructure in the region, the best in West and Central Africa. Properly built airport, properly designed for purpose, fit to purpose, or fit for purpose. All of these come together to form a serious tripod: airport, MRO, airline. What that means is we're creating a world-class aviation ecosystem in Uyo for the benefit of Akwa Ibom and for the country. Of course, it offers, particularly Akwa Ibomites, so many options for their future, the young people. They can be pilots, they can be engineers, they can be cabin crew, they can be airline customer service agents, managers, and it doesn't also preclude the rest of Nigeria and the world, because the skills are found everywhere. And so what we're trying to do is to create an ecosystem that works in a world-class manner and that will help the rest of us in the country to see what aviation can do when you're not bothered about me, and what am I going to get out of it, and what am I going to get out of it, but you're doing something for legacy reasons, to be able to show that it can be done, and that all the other people who have done it before, it didn't just fall from heaven. It came from a long-term vision, long-term discipline, focus, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prove that it's possible to do this. And so huge kudos to the government and people of Akwa Ibom State. Huge kudos to the people of Ibom Airport Development Company Limited and Ibom Air. And we believe that the efforts we have put in, the focus we have put in, the discipline we bring to the table will deliver on these investments by the government and people of Akwa Ibom to the benefit of Akwa Ibom and the country.